What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel where for today's review we're going to be checking out the Transformers Reactivate Deluxe class Soundwave, based on the upcoming video game produced by Splash Damage, and so far I am really liking the design for these Transformers. They have a great live action movie look to them, and I like how for the most part all of them transform into these armoured, militant trucks, which judging by the most recent teaser trailer seems to be the perfect design choice. So as we check out Soundwave's robot mode, I like how despite him not transforming into a cassette player, the robot mode is easily recognisable as how he did originally appear in the G1 series. Check out the mouth plate, the over-the-shoulder cannon, the integration of the cassette deck embedded in the chest, which unfortunately doesn't actually function. There is no compartment inside, which I do think is a bit of a missed opportunity, especially as that was something we saw integrated into the Deluxe Cyberverse version. But again, we get some nice G1 throwbacks designed into the skirt armour, and the legs have been pretty decently painted and detailed, but proportionally wise, I do think there are some issues here. Now, like I mentioned in the Reactivate Optimus Prime review, at the moment we haven't really had a great glimpse of any of the Transformers, so for all I know this could be completely accurate, but if you check him out from the side and the back, he is secretly the 5th member of the Ninja Turtles, as he does have a massive ass backpack. I'm pretty certain had they integrated some of this mass into the legs, maybe they wouldn't come across as being so lanky, but I do find it kind of cool how the rear wheels flip inside, and it definitely does give you this really realistic transformed look. So that's definitely one of the geek out moments of the transformation for myself. But this is a Soundwave which has been ejected into a post-apocalyptic Earth. This is a video game, so let's see what firepower he will be packing. And much like Soundwave, these are super G1 faithful. So up first is the over-the-shoulder cannon, very nicely detailed, and it's also blast effect compatible, so I did think that was a pretty cool feature. And then his actual handheld blaster is really cool, because this is kind of a throwback to the original G1 Soundwave toy, as up front is that silver missile. So I thought that was great. Unfortunately, no laser beak included in this set at all, and we know that's a character that will be appearing in the upcoming Reactivate video game, so who knows, maybe in the future he will see a release, hopefully with some of the other Soundwave minions, but for the time being Soundwave is minionless. Now, as we check out Soundwave's articulation, surprisingly pretty decent. So up first, the head's on a ball joint. This will look up, it will look down, it can then also tilt side to side. The shoulders will rotate all the way around, again on a ball joint, and hinge out to the side. There is then a bicep cut, an elbow bend, and a wrist joint. The waist can rotate all the way around. It's not restricted at all due to the backpack, which I thought was awesome, and the hips are fantastic. Check out that high kick. Now that's because the way they've been designed is so that the hip joint has been moved as close as possible to the front part of the skirt. So in some ways this kind of acts as a fake drop down hinge. I really hope this is something that we can see integrated into more mainline figures, because that range of motion is brilliant, although it does mean going backwards is a little compromised. To be fair, it's very rare that I find myself moving the legs backwards at all, so that is definitely something I'm not going to complain about. The hips will then kick out to the sides, there is a thigh cut, the knees can bend way past 90, and then finally he also has the iconic ankle pivot. So pretty decently articulated, but you guys know what we have to do. Let's now put Soundwave through the pose test. Now, as we check out some size comparisons, on the right hand side we have the Reactivate Optimus Prime. Now at the moment you can only purchase these two as a pair. They do come in a 2-pack, which is a bit of a shame because Optimus Prime is clearly the star of the show. But with that being said, this Soundwave is a decent release. It really is just the proportion issues which I think are letting him down, but as I mentioned, we are yet to see official looks for any of these Reactivate Transformers. So at the moment, for all we know, this could be completely accurate. I guess only time will tell. Here is how he stacks up alongside the Fall of Cybertron Voyager Soundwave, and as I mentioned in my Reactivate Optimus Prime review, some of these Reactivate designs do seem to be the almost perfect continuation to these Cybertronian designs that we were seeing in some of those amazing High Moon Studio games. And then for a few quick fire mainline comparisons, first up we have the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Soundwave, the Netflix War for Cybertron Moldy Wave, Studio Series, War for Cybertron, Voyager Megatron, and again, aesthetic and scale-wise, I think these two in particular actually look really strong alongside each other. Gamer Edition, Deluxe Class Barricade, and despite at the moment this Reactivate Soundwave seemingly being the weakest out of the Reactivate subline, he is still so much better than this Gamer Edition Barricade. There is a reason why this guy looks like he's crying, and it's because he's probably one of the worst Studio Series figures released since 2018. The Cyberverse Deluxe Class Soundwave, there are a lot of similarities in their designs in both robot and vehicle mode, although I really like the integration of a laser beak and a cassette deck compartment on this figure. And then finally, the War for Cybertron Bumblebee. So scale wise, Soundwave definitely is a decently sized deluxe class figure. Now, as we check out Soundwave's transformation, it's actually quite straightforward. So, for the first step, you're going to want to take hold of the thigh joint and rotate it so the inside is now facing the outside. Do the same here for this side, so rotate that around. We can then take these little panels, lift these here up, and then take the wheels and flip these from within the inside of the leg. So, slide that out, take this panel and bring it back down for now. Do the exact same for this side, so take this, detach it away from that slot, take these rear tyres and just flip them to the outside. Take this piece, slide that down, and then basically just combine these here directly down the middle, and that is the leg transformation complete. So not too much substance there at all, which is maybe why they do come across as being quite lanky in the robot mode. Now we can spin around to this massive backpack. The first step is to take a hold of this piece and slide it here outwards like that. So already that does form a huge chunk of the vehicle mode. A little more integration into the legs I don't really think would have gone amiss, but now we've done that, we can come to the inside and take the front set of wheels and just fold these here down. Then what you'll do is flip around to the front and take this little neck latch and detach it away from the cassette deck and fold this here all the way inside. Now we've completed that step, what you'll do is you'll hinge this section here up. So it is on a double hinge joint, does take a little bit of force, but it will snap into place just like this. Then what we can do is take a hold of these shoulder joints, and these are going to reverse inside just like that. So do the same here for this side, reverse these here all the way in, and then as we flip to the inside, there are these little tabs which are going to slide into these slots on the inside part of the arm. So just bring that up and then snap that in there. Do the exact same here for this side, so bring that up and snap that in there. Then what you'll do is come back to these tires and flip these pieces here down. So as I'm sure you guys would then be able to tell, we're going to flip this here all the way up like this. These little tabs are going to slide into these notches on either side, so just snap those in there on both sides. Then what we can do is straighten these panels out so they do perfectly line up with what originally was the backpack. Spin around to this side and do the same, so snap that there into place, and then all you want to do is just begin snapping these front tires in. So spin around here to this side, make sure that's all snapped into place. We can then take the tiny little radar dish, and then for a finishing touch, you want to specifically take the over-the-shoulder cannon and peg it into the roof of the vehicle. And bang! Here we have Soundwave fully transformed into his armoured SUV vehicle mode. Now, for the most part, I do really like the design of his robot mode, but without a doubt, between his two forms, this is definitely his superior look. From the front, the side, and the back, this thing has been so nicely detailed, and I also love how armorized it is. He has a reinforced front bumper, a fully armorized windshield, and it's still easily recognizable as Soundwave, as we have the cassette deck forming the hood, the over-the-shoulder cannon still being of use to him in this form, and because he is the communications officer of the Decepticons, it's wicked to see this surveillance dish integrated into the top. So it's just a really banging looking vehicle. I also quite like the nuts and bolts that we have scattered across the side. You know, this is a Soundwave which has been ejected into a post-apocalyptic Earth. This really does seem as if though it could deal damage, and I am equally as excited to play as this guy in his vehicle mode as his robot mode, as he definitely does seem to be a force to be reckoned with. But in addition to storing the shoulder cannon here up top, The concussion blaster is supposed to tab into the back. Now, this is not the worst form of weapon storage, but if we fit this guy here to the underside, he has these huge gaping cutouts. I think this would have made for some seamless weapon storage. Unfortunately, these are just a tad too small to have these blasters store in them. So I do think that's a missed opportunity. You know, maybe they could have found a way to have separated the missile from the actual blaster itself, so we could have stored both of them in each cavity. But as I said, it doesn't look terrible. And as we check out some vehicle mode comparisons, up first we have the Reactivate Optimus Prime. So a decent deluxe to Voyager ratio. As I've mentioned previously, I am loving so far what we've been shown for these Reactivate Transformers. Honestly, I just want to see some actual gameplay. It's been near enough 12 months since that initial teaser. I want to see if the Transformers look as good in the game as their action figures do. Here is how he sizes up alongside the Fall of Cybertron Voyager Soundwave, and like I mentioned before, despite these two designs being based on completely different video games, am I crazy, or does this Earth-based Reactivate Soundwave almost seem to be a great continuation of what we were seeing towards the end of the Fall of Cybertron game? So again, super promising in terms of what we've been shown off so far. Here is how he sizes alongside the Studio Series War for Cybertron Megatron, Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Barricade, Transformers Cyberverse Deluxe Soundwave, and there are a lot of similarities between the two. I really like how this vehicle mode is quite different to how he originally appeared in the G1 series, yet is easily recognisable as the Soundwave character. I think it's awesome to make the cassette deck the front hood of the vehicle, the colours, just everything about this I think makes sense. So if he ever does make an appearance in live action, this is definitely the vehicle mode that I'd like to see him maybe scan into. And then finally, here we have the Studio Series Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Bumblebee. And so, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Reactivate Deluxe Class Soundwave. Overall, I think it's quite a decent addition into the Reactivate subline, although I do think there are some proportion issues. Now, at the time of this recording, we haven't as of yet seen any official, proper images of how the Transformers will actually look in the game, so that's just something, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see on. Accessories are decent, they could have been better, you know, they definitely could have given us a laser beak or an actual working cassette deck, as that was something we saw integrated into the Deluxe Cyberverse Soundwave. Transformation is straightforward enough, and the truck mode looks banging. I would love to get your thoughts on this Reactivate 2-pack down in the comment section below. What do you guys think of Prime? What do you think of Soundwave? And until my next video, I thank you all so much for watching. Transform and roll out!